On the night the snow turned black, a Halloween winter haunting. The first time the snow turned black, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Halloween night, temperature dropping to a bone-cracking chill, and I was driving home through the mountains with a dead phone and a tank barely above empty. The radio kept hissing with a static so harsh it felt like whispers crawling inside my ears. At exactly 11:09 p.m., the snowfall changed. Not slow. Not gradual. One blink. White flakes. Next blink. Pitch black snow, tumbling from a sky that suddenly had no stars at all. The wipers smeared the black flakes across my windshield like wet ash. The forest on both sides grew unnaturally still, as if all the trees were holding their breath, waiting for something I couldn't see. Then the road sign appeared through the dark flurry. Welcome to Hollow Ridge. Population. The rest of the numbers had been scratched out. I didn't remember any town being here. My headlights flickered, twice, like a warning. Then something stepped onto the road. At first I thought it was a deer. But deer don't crawl. This thing dragged itself on all fours, head tilted at an impossible angle, long hair frozen into jagged icicles that scraped across the snow. Its skin was pale blue, like something drowned under ice. When it lifted its face toward me, I saw its eyes, hollow sockets filled with churning black flakes, the same ones falling from the sky. My foot slammed the brakes. The creature froze. Then it whispered. Too late to close your eyes. My car's engine died instantly. The headlights went dark. And the only sound was the endless hiss of the black snow hitting the roof, and footsteps circling my car. Slow. Dragging. As if the thing had friends. Something brushed against the passenger door. Then the driver's side. Then my window. A faint tapping, like fingernails. But way, way too long. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. I didn't move an inch. Because the tapping turned into a scratching sound. And then, a voice that sounded like a person trying to scream through frozen lungs. We saw your lights. We smelled your heat. Let us in before the cold finds you first. The temperature dropped so fast frost grew across the inside of my windshield. Then, from behind my seat. Inside the car. A second voice whispered. You should have driven faster. I didn't move. I didn't even dare to breathe. The voice behind me wasn't muffled. It wasn't outside the car. It was inches from my ear. The air in the car grew so cold the breath froze before it left my mouth. My rearview mirror was fogging from the inside, the glass trembling like someone, or something, was breathing on it from the back seat. Slowly, terrified beyond reason, I looked up into the mirror. At first, I saw nothing. Then, a shape. Small, hunched. A silhouette darker than the already pitch-black car interior. It sat perfectly still, like a shadow carved out of the night. My hand shook as I reached for the door handle, no plan, no thought, just instinct screaming to run. But before I could touch it, a hand, ice-cold, thin, skeletal, rested on my shoulder. I went rigid. The fingers pressed down gently, almost politely, but the cold pierced straight through my jacket and into my bones. My shoulder went numb instantly. The whisper came again. Don't go outside. They're waiting for you. My heartbeat slammed against my ribs. I forced my eyes forward, never turning around, terrified of what I'd see. Outside, the black snowstorm thickened. The flakes stuck to the windows like soot, turning the world into a void. Shapes moved in that darkness. Dozens of them. Maybe more. Some tall. Some crawling. Some dragging themselves like they had no legs at all. Their outlines appeared and disappeared in the swirling black snow, never fully visible, except for their eyes. Every pair of eyes glowed faintly. A dim, suffering blue. The hand on my shoulder tightened. You drove through Hollow Ridge, the whisper said. That means you're already marked. Marked for what? I choked out, my voice barely sound. The shape in the back seat leaned closer. Its breath crawled across my neck like cold cobwebs. For the taking, it said softly. Every Halloween night, the ridge claims one warm body. The snow turns black to hide their tracks. This year. It paused, and its voice twisted into something hunger-filled. They smelled you first. I swallowed hard, trying not to faint. Somewhere outside, something slammed against the side of the car. Hard enough to rock it. A second hit. Then a third. The metal groaned. The things in the snow were growing impatient. The shadow in my back seat whispered. Don't let them drag you out there. They will peel your warmth from your skin. They will freeze your bones until they ring like bells. They will bury you under the ridge and keep your soul wandering with them. I whispered, shaking, why are you in here then? There was a long, dead silence. Then. I'm not here to save you. My stomach dropped. The shadow leaned close to my ear, and I felt its smile stretch wider than any human mouth should. I'm here to keep you warm enough to last. Until they open the door. The lock clicked. The passenger door handle began to lift on its own. And the black snowflakes melted into long, pale fingers reaching inside. The passenger door handle rose slowly. Not like something was pulling it. But like something gentle was lifting it with careful, patient hunger. The shadow in my back seat whispered, almost delighted. They've chosen you. My fingers dug into the steering wheel. The metal felt warm compared to the freezing air slithering through the crack in the door as it opened, inch by inch. The black snow swirled inside the car, hissing like it was alive. I kicked the door with everything I had. It slammed shut. Instantly, a chorus of screams burst from the outside. Not human screams. Not animal screams. But something that sounded like frozen throats tearing open. A pale hand, bony, blue, with nails like black icicles, slapped against the window, dragging itself down the glass. Another hand. Then another. Then dozens. The entire car was covered in clawing, desperate fingers. The shadow behind me chuckled, low and cold. You can't fight them. You can't run. Hollow Ridge remembers every warm body that enters. It leaned closer until its face was inches from mine, still unseen in the darkness, but I felt the weight of its hollow gaze. You don't escape the ridge. You get claimed. My breath clouded the air. I forced myself to speak. What do you want with me? It exhaled a slow, icy breath down my neck. I want to watch. The wind howled. The car shook violently as something huge slammed onto the roof. The sheet metal caved downward with a deep metallic groan. The roof dented inward, inches from my head. Then I heard a sound that froze my heart. Tap. 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 From inside the roof. Like something was knocking from above. Wanting in. The shadow spoke again. They're thinning the metal. Get ready. For what? I whispered. For your warmth to spill out. The roof dented again, deeper this time. A sharp, cracking sound filled the car. Like the metal was giving way. I had a split second. I grabbed my bag on the passenger seat and shoved it against the ceiling right as another blow landed. The roof punched into the bag instead of my skull. Outside, the pale hands slammed furiously against the glass. Long claws scraped. Voices cried, sobbed, begged. Dozens of them whispering over each other. Let us in. Let us in. Let us feel your heat. My vision blurred from panic. The shadow in the back seat sighed, almost bored. You can make this easier, just open one door. Any door. No, I breathed. It leaned so close to my ear I felt the shape of a grin that wasn't human. Then you will freeze in here with me. The temperature dropped again, instantly. My teeth chattered. Uncontrollably. Frost crept across the inside of the windshield like pale fingers searching for my face. The shadow touched my wrist. And the cold was so deep it felt like burning. I yanked my arm away, gasping. The shadow whispered. You're slowing down. Once you faint, they'll peel you out like fruit. Another boom cracked the roof. A long, jagged tear opened above me. And from it, a pale, blue eye stared down, blinking sideways. Like some kind of winterborn creature. The black snowstorm outside roared with excitement. The eye widened. And a voice from above whispered. Found you. The pale blue eye stared down at me through the tear in the roof, unblinking, hungry, impossibly wide. It didn't look human. It didn't even look alive. It looked aware, like a creature that had been waiting centuries for a moment exactly like this. The shadow in the back seat inhaled sharply, as if savoring the terror thick in the air. Once it sees you, it whispered. It knows your warmth. It won't stop. The creature above dragged a claw through the torn metal, making the opening wider. A slow, screeching rip. Metal peeling like wet paper. I scrambled across the driver's seat and pressed myself against the door, anywhere away from that opening. The black snow poured in faster, hissing as it landed on my skin. It didn't melt. It burned. The eye blinked sideways. Then something long and jointed slid through the hole. A hand. Blue. Frostbitten. Bones jutting out beneath thin skin stretched too tight. It reached for me. I screamed and shoved myself further against the door, but the shadow behind me caught my jacket, holding me in place. Don't run, it murmured. They love the chase. I jerked away from it, ripping the zipper of my jacket. I fell sideways onto the passenger seat just as the freezing hand slammed down where my head had been. The entire car shook. Outside, dozens of pale figures pressed against the windows, their faces distorted by frost and hunger. Their breath fogged the glass from the outside, leaving smeared, trembling shapes behind. One of them mouthed words I couldn't hear. Another dragged its tongue, blue and cracked, across the window. Another slammed its forehead repeatedly against the glass, making spiderweb cracks. The creature above me forced more of its body through the hole. A shoulder. An arm. Long strands of hair matted with black snow. I didn't have seconds left. Maybe not even one. I grabbed the only thing I had left in reach. My car keys. Useless. Probably. But right now they were all I had. The hand swooped down again, fast, sharp, elegant in a horrifying way. I jabbed the keys upward, driving them directly into the palm. The creature shrieked. Not loudly, but in a frequency that made my ears ring and my vision go white. The hand shot back up through the roof. The figures outside paused, all turning their heads sharply toward me in perfect, unnatural unison. The shadow in the back seat made a disappointed noise. "You shouldn't have done that." My teeth chattered. "Why not?" "Because now," it hissed. "You've made them bleed." A long silence. Then. Crack. The passenger window shattered inward. A dozen arms shot through the broken glass at once. Grabbing my hair, my clothes, my shoulders, my wrists. Pulling. Relentlessly. The cold was so intense I felt my skin go numb in seconds. The shadow didn't help. It didn't stop them. Instead, it whispered excitedly. "They're taking you home." I clawed at the seat, at the door, at anything. But my grip slipped on the frost that now coated everything. The pale hands dragged harder. My body began sliding out through the broken window. My legs leaving the car first. Then my waist. Then my chest. The night outside roared with black snow and starving voices. They pulled. I screamed. And then. Just before I was torn fully into the storm. A horn blared. Loud. Close. Human. Bright headlights cut through the black storm. The pale hands recoiled violently, screeching as they ripped back into the darkness. I fell back inside the car, hitting the seat and the gear stick hard. The shadow's voice changed. Soft, urgent, almost fearful. "No. No. They shouldn't be here. Not tonight." Through the swirling black snow outside, I saw it. A snowplow. Old, rusted, chains hanging from the front. Its lights flickering like candles fighting the dark. Inside sat a single figure. A man. Staring directly at me. The plow skidded to a stop. The man stepped out, holding a lantern that burned with a white flame. The pale creatures in the snow shrank back, hissing. He pointed at me. "Get out of the car," he shouted. "Now. Before the snow claims you." The man's voice cut through the black snow like a blade. "Get out. Now." My hands shook so violently I couldn't even grab the door handle at first. I looked back instinctively. At the shadow in my back seat. It no longer looked amused. No gentle whisper. No cold chuckle. It was angry. A low, simmering, silent rage. Its shape coiled tighter in the darkness, shrinking away from the lantern's strange white flame. "Don't you dare leave," it hissed. Its voice warped, desperate and furious at the same time. "You're mine." The man outside banged on the twisted metal of my passenger door. "Hurry. Before they regroup." Before who regrouped? The creatures in the black snow? The crawling things? The thing in my back seat? I didn't have time to decide. The shadow's rage grew. The temperature dropped again, so fast my lungs locked up. A dark tendril, like smoke made of frost, began rising from the shadow's form, stretching toward my throat. I made a decision. I lunged. I shoulder slammed the driver's door, forcing it open just enough to squeeze out. The cold outside hit so hard I felt my skin burn. When I stumbled into the black snow, the man grabbed my arm and yanked me behind the snowplow. "Stay by the flame," he commanded. "Don't step outside this glow, no matter what you hear." I stumbled backward, trembling, staring at the lantern hanging from his hand. The white flame didn't flicker. It didn't sway in the wind. It burned straight upward, like a pillar. And everywhere the light touched, the black snow evaporated, shriveling into smoke. The creatures scattered into the darkness like rats fleeing fire. The man kept the lantern raised high, sweeping it across the storm. "Damn Ridge is waking early this year," he muttered. I could finally see him clearly. White beard, eyes sunken from years of sleepless nights, a heavy coat stitched so many times it looked more patchwork than fabric. "Who are you?" I gasped. He didn't look at me. His eyes darted around, watching the storm. "Name's Holden," he said curtly. "I keep the road clear on nights like this." The snowplow engine idled loudly behind us, sputtering like it might die any second. "What the hell was that?" I whispered. His jaw tightened. "Not hell," he said. "Worse." Behind us, something slammed against my abandoned car. Metal crunched. Glass shattered. The creatures were back, reclaiming their prize. I flinched. Holden gripped my arm harder. "Don't look. Don't run. Stay in the glow." I forced myself to face him. My voice shook. "Why are they after me?" He hesitated, eyes narrowing. "Because you saw the black snow. That's the first mark." I swallowed. "First." Holden met my eyes, slowly, heavily, like he already knew I wouldn't survive what came next. "The second mark," he said quietly, "is when they speak your name." My heart dropped. They hadn't spoken it. Not yet. But before I could answer, the wind howled. A violent, furious sound. And the black snow swirled into a funnel around my car. From that swirling darkness, a voice rose. Soft. Whispering. Laced with hunger. "We know you now." Holden's face went white. "Get down," he shouted, throwing himself over me. The lantern's flame flared bright, blinding. And the creatures screamed in unison. The storm roared. The snow turned pitch black again. And then, from deep inside the maelstrom, a single voice called out, stretching through the wind. "We found you, Elias." My own name. Spoken perfectly. Spoken by something that wasn't human. Spoken by something that had been waiting. Holden whispered, voice trembling for the first time. "God help you. That was your second mark." The wind stopped. The storm stilled. And behind me, from the direction of my car, I heard the unmistakable sound of the driver's door opening on its own. The driver's door creaked open, slow and deliberate, as if whatever had been hiding in my car was now stepping out to greet the darkness. Holden shoved me behind him, raising the lantern higher. The white flame flared. But this time, the darkness didn't recoil. Instead, the black snowstorm parted. And out of that gap stepped the shadow. The same one that had been whispering behind me in the car. But it had changed. It was no longer a shape clinging to darkness. It had a form now. Thin, human-like, but impossibly elongated, its limbs bending at wrong angles like broken branches forced to move. Its head tilted, and from within its face, two pits of swirling black flakes fixed on me. It spoke without opening a mouth. "Elias." Holden cursed under his breath. "That's it. The third mark." I swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" "It means," Holden whispered, stepping back, There's no running now. The shadow glided across the snow without sinking into it. Where its feet passed, the ground froze solid and cracked like old glass. You left me, it murmured, voice echoing from every direction. You stepped out of the car. You stepped away from me. Its voice deepened, sharpening into something hateful. You broke the bond. I shook my head, backing away. There was no bond. The shadow's voice boomed like thunder inside my skull. You were mine. The black snow rose like waves behind the creature. Figures crawled from the drifts, those pale, starving things, forming a circle around me and Holden. Holden grabbed my collar and forced me to look at him. Listen to me. The third mark means it can't kill you yet. It has to take you. And that gives us a sliver, a tiny sliver, of hope. A sliver? I gasped. He pressed the lantern into my hands. Don't let the flame go out. Not for a second. I felt the warmth bite into my fingers, the white flame pulsing like a heartbeat. The shadow hissed. They gave you stolen fire, Elias. It won't keep you. The pale creatures surged closer. Holden shoved me backward. Run. Run. But you. G.O., he roared. The snowplow engine roared behind us, sputtering violently. Holden jumped into the driver's seat and slammed the door. I sprinted through the snow, lantern in hand, heart hammering. Behind me, the snowplow lurched forward. Chains rattling, metal screaming. As Holden drove straight into the horde of pale creatures. They swarmed him instantly. Their hands clawed at the windows. Their bodies slammed into the metal. Their screams split the air. Holden looked at me one last time through the windshield. Then the shadow descended on him. The lantern flickered violently in my grip. The snowplow lights went out. And the storm devoured everything. I ran until my lungs burned, lantern bouncing in my hand, the white flame shrinking. And ahead, at last, I saw it. A wooden sign buried in snow. You are now leaving Hollow Ridge. I sprinted. But a cold hand cupped my face from behind. A voice breathed directly into my ear. Leaving? No, Elias. You're arriving. The flame sputtered. And went out. The darkness swallowed me the moment the flame died. Not ordinary darkness. A living void that pressed against my eyes, my skin, my bones. I couldn't see my own hands. But I could hear them. The creatures. The whispers. The shifting snow. And the shadow. Always the shadow. Its voice curled around me like a slow, cold smile. You don't run from Hollow Ridge. You return to it. I stumbled backward, hands outstretched, searching for anything, light, warmth, a path. But the ground had changed. It wasn't snow anymore. It was ice. Thin. Cracking. Beneath it, faintly, I heard knocking. Then scraping. Then, fingernails dragging. Holden's voice. Distant, muffled, drowning. I froze, breath hitching. The shadow materialized inches in front of me, taller now, more defined, made of pure darkness and black snow swirling around a hollow core. You were marked before you were born, it murmured. Everyone chosen by Hollow Ridge is. My pulse hammered. No, I whispered. No, that's not true. It lifted a hand. Fingers long, jointed wrong. The ice beneath my feet cracked. You drove into the ridge by accident. But the ridge never works by accident. Its hand touched my chest. My breath seized. My heart felt like it froze mid-beat. The storm around us settled, calming like a beast finally fed. The shadow leaned close. You were always meant to return to us. The ice broke. I plunged downward. Freezing water swallowed me whole. The cold was indescribable, worse than pain, worse than silence. Shapes moved beneath me. Hands reached from below, dragging me deeper. I opened my eyes underwater and saw faces. Blue. Frozen. Screaming but silent. Every face the ridge had ever claimed. Their mouths opened in perfect unison, releasing black snow that swirled around me. I sank deeper. My lungs screamed. My vision flickered. The shadow's voice echoed from every direction. Your warmth will keep the ridge fed for a century. And then, just before darkness claimed me, I saw something. A second lantern. Flickering weakly. Held by a figure on the shore. A woman. Shivering. Terrified. Looking directly at me. Her car was stuck in the snow behind her. Headlights flashing weakly. She had driven into Hollow Ridge. Just like I had. The shadow turned its head toward her. Another arrival. Whispered. The water closed over my face. The black snow thickened. And as the ridge claimed me, my last breath burst in a cloud of white. I understood. The snow turned black. To hide the things that come with it. And now, I was one of them.